from Studio 13 in California, you're listening to Wildcard with your hosts, John.
Thousands of dollars on a ticket, thousands of dollars to make yourself look like you're homeless.
And Conor.
You need to take some shrooms, slap on a tutu and some aviator goggles, and go out there and see what all the fuss is about.
A show with a lot of stories and an occasional funny one.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Wildcard. In this XL episode, we cover it all. In the first half, we learned that Conor isn't the only one with medical issues, but he does prove he is still the most disgusting. Then we talk Burning Man. That's right, it's the time of the year when all the rich white millennials try to act like they're just poor, simple people from the playa. How many thousands of dollars does it take to pull off just the right look of homeless Bedouin non-binary nomad? We add 2 new segments to the show, what the woke folks are doing, and things we hate. Then we finish off with a doozy. The cousin of Porn-Free Radio's Matt Dobshoots calls in. This is the guy we talked about last time who has a porn addiction podcast. You know, he gives you travel tips and how to not use at your mom's house or during Thanksgiving dinner. He heard our episode and wants to give you more details into a world we wish would just stay in the basement. So grab your goggles, drop some Molly, and get ready to trade seashells for water in this episode of Wildcard. I saw a photo. I can't remember if it was on the Facebooks or the Instagram of you and Jeffrey. I believe back at a nude beach again.
Yes, that's a common thing. Yeah.
I have many questions.
Okay. Shoot.
One, was this because you were trying to sunburn the body?
No, this was kind of like a preventative maintenance thing. Like I figure if I air the dermis out, that maybe it will stop collecting so many diseases.
Secondly, why at the nude beach is Jeffrey clearly wearing a bathing suit in the photo?
Well, we actually both were because we're like conservative Puritans and gay.
You can't do that. You can't go to a nude beach and not be nude. That's rule 1 of the nude beach. That's like talking about Fight Club.
Rule 1 of the nude beach is play Frisbee.
Well, okay, help me understand this, because no part of me has ever wanted to go to a nude beach because I am wise enough to know that really, really ridiculously good-looking people do not go to nude beaches. And you're really going to see the majority of humanity is like a 5. And the majority of people who are willing to take their clothes off for some reason hovers around a 3. So why the nude beach?
You know, this particular nude beach breaks that rule. And I don't know why, but it's pretty amazing. It actually, what it does is it ends up attracting people with very, very large endowments. It's basically like the Ivy League walking around, male and female. So it's pretty good viewing for a Saturday.
Is it a predominantly gay nude beach? Are there women there?
There is kind of a gay portion, but yeah, there are a lot of women there too.
So you just go and set up some beach towels and wear your swim trunks and gander at the nakedness.
Well, to be fair, I wear very short shorts just so that I'm kind of fitting in.
I don't think you can say to be fair at a nude beach when you're wearing short shorts.
I mean, they're pretty short. I guess now you're making me feel guilty. Maybe next time I'll go back with Speedos.
What goes on the nude beach? Do you go and talk to the nudes, or do you just hang out like a really creepy dude in the corner? But what's going on here?
You know, it's pretty normal beach activity, except I will say the other day when we were there were 2 gentlemen frolicking in the water wearing those S&M dog face masks. It's like a full-on, like the snout comes out several inches, full-on leather, helmet-y dog face mask thing.
Is that like the thing that was in the box, the GIMP from Pulp Fiction in the box?
Yeah, except his was very skin tight. This is more, again, it's more dimensional, which, you know, whatever floats your boat. But I was just thinking, like, that can't be easy or safe to swim in.
Yeah, nothing about that sounds fun.
No.
Nothing. That sounds very drownedy.
It sounds super drownedy.
So you're just sitting at home and one of you is just like, hey, let's go gander at some nude dudes this Sunday. Let's go down to the nude beach and wear our trunks.
You sound very interested, as if you're looking for an invite. Do you want to go to the nude beach?
No, I'm interested because I find it so odd. I just,
It's not that odd.
All right. Maybe I'm just weird.
You have to like unshackle yourself from your social restraints, man.
All right. I'm pretty excited about this. We kind of have a guest today. It's not like a full guest on the show, but last week we talked about someone who has a podcast called Porn Free Radio.
Yes.
And this is where I have to mea culpa a little bit, because although we got really good feedback on the episode, a number of people said to me, I kind of feel bad for the guy. And I don't know that I stated enough that although we had fun, I do genuinely feel bad for the guy. It is an addiction. And who are we with all of our problems to make fun of others? Except that.
So I did state that a couple times, and you were like, "Shut up, you wuss."
But you're a better person than I am.
I guess so. That's a pretty low bar, though.
So after the show, we get a message on our Facebook, and the message says, "Let me see if I can pull this up in under 30 minutes here." If we go to Wildcard Podcast on Facebook, there's a plug for you. So not long after the show, we get this message on Facebook. Hey guys, I'm a huge fan of the show. The episode you just released got really weird for me, however. The man you talk about, Matt Dobeschutz, is my cousin. I'm not mad at you for making fun of him. I think it's actually hilarious. Anyway, keep up the awesome work.
So you and I haven't talked about this yet, but do we know for sure that this guy isn't messing with us? I mean, did you hear that call the other day where some comedian got on with Trump on Air Force One?
See, I don't know that he's not messing with us, but either way, I think it's going to be hilarious. So let me give you the guy's going to come on the show. So we're going to talk to him later. We're going to interview him because I think it's fascinating. I want to know if you have a family member that is this public about something that is typically very private and uncomfortable, then I want to hear about what that does to, how do you go to family functions? How does mom react? I have a lot of questions.
Mom's busy casually laying porn out on the coffee table.
Williams Sonoma, DMV bills. But as far as if he's full of shit and faking us out, do you really take credit for having the uncle that can't stop gratifying? Because I'm not sure I would jump on that bandwagon.
My conspiracy theory is that this guy, that Matt Dobeschutz is his sponsor. And this guy is getting back at us for making light of Matt Dobeschutz' show.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you think he's going to come at us guns hot?
Oh, I think he's coming super guns hot. Yeah.
Well, either way, it'll be entertaining. So it's been quite the week for me. Now that I'm older, I'm getting injured from either injuries that I don't have, meaning something just now hurts, and I'm very clearly have not injured it. Or you get injured doing stupid stuff that should not injure you. For example, I got out of bed the other morning and I stood up and I felt something pop in my foot, and all of a sudden it was very painful to walk. And within 24 hours, my entire foot was black and blue. Now, I don't know if I broke something. I shouldn't say entire foot. I'm exaggerating. The top portion of my foot was black and blue, and it is still semi-painful to walk. So I am 30 or 40% that I might have broken my foot standing, getting out of bed. Okay. Then I've got this finger, and I've been dealing with this for like 8 or 9 months. The joint in my finger hurts so bad. And so I'm like, oh God, am I finally as gross as Conor? Because you have the gout.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It sounds like you have gout.
Yeah, you're super gross. Is there any gross, contagious disease that you don't have?
If there is, I'm working real hard to get it.
So I was worried that I was falling into your realm of being one of the grossest people alive.
Just to be clear, gout is not a contagious disease.
Fuck, you seem to catch everything that's not contagious.
Cover your mouth, you might get gout.
You seem to catch everything, whether it's contagious or not, you catch it.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, everything is contagious to me. Yes, that is true.
So then I'm looking on the WebMDs, your favorite website.
Right. You don't need doctors anymore. Just go on the internet.
I don't do anything that would cause you to get gout, And so I'm like,
well, let's think about that. You don't drink beer. You don't really eat shellfish. You're not like 400 pounds.
Yeah, I don't eat a ton of sugar. These are all things. Gout, for those that don't know, gout is mostly dietary. Yes, you can be genetically predisposed, but it's mostly dietary as far as getting rid of it. So I don't.
It used to be called the king's disease because the royals were the ones who had access to a lot of meat, so they ate a very meat-heavy diet, and you get it from things like meat, shellfish, and beer, and it's the accumulation of uric acid in your joints, and you basically get like tiny little rock crystals in your joints, and it is the most painful goddamn thing. It is so painful, and nobody gives you sympathy because you're like, I have gout, and nobody even really knows what that is, and they just think you're a weirdo.
So finally, I go to the doctor, and I get a nurse practitioner, not my doctor, and she's kind of, so I explain my symptoms. She's like, "Oh, you've probably got arthritis," and I said, "Okay." Now I'm 38, and I'm like, "Okay, so what can we do about this?" She's like, "Oh, well, it's pretty chronic." Okay, so can we? How do we fix the arthritis? And she's like, "Well."
Now, at this point, did you say, so again, I am 38 years old and I'm not O.J. Simpson?
I mean, she seems very kind of flip about the whole thing. So I'm like, well, can we do any tests? So she goes, okay, we'll do a blood test for uric acid to see if you have gout, and we'll do some x-rays on your hand. So I get all that done. She calls back and she goes, well, good news. Looked at the x-rays, no arthritis. I looked at the blood tests, no raised level of uric acid and no markers of, osteoarthritis. So you're good. And I'm like,
problem solved.
I was like, yeah, problem is I'm not good because my knuckle's red, it's got nodules on it, and it hurts like the dickens. So they send me to a specialist, and I go in to see the specialist, and he's talking, and he goes, it's weird. The only thing I can think of that would cause this is Lyme. I'm like, oh, shit. So there is currently the possibility that I have the Lyme. I've been bitten by ticks in the past, but I don't think I have Lyme. I don't know that I have any of the symptoms. But so that's fun.
So I don't want to root against your health too much, but I got to be honest, I'm a little bit excited that you might have a weirder disease than me.
If I have Lyme, we need to rename the show The Two Grossest Individuals That You Only Want to Listen to on the Radio and Never Meet in Person.
Yeah, it's like a medical record for radio.
So then I'm talking to the doctor. Okay, let's assume that I do or don't have Lyme. It doesn't matter. He goes, because what we got to do is treat the symptoms. So he goes, we can give you a cortisone shot. I'm like, okay. So I'm expecting that I'm going to get some sort of numbing something or other.
No.
So I'm sitting there, and the doctor goes, he goes, I'll give you the cortisone injection right now. So he brings in this needle. We lay my hand down on the table, and I knew I was in a bad spot when he only brought in one needle, and it more closely resembled a harpoon than a needle. And so there's no numbing anything. Straight in the top of the knuckle, and he hits bone. And then he's working the needle back and forth to try to find the gap between the fingers. And then he finds it, and then the needle slides all the way down into the finger. And that was fun. Felt fantastic.
Oh. You know why you didn't need any kind of local anesthetic there?
Because I'm a man?
I think we've talked about, no, you're clearly not. I think we've talked about this before. Cortisone is medicine's kryptonite. It's like, if we don't know what to do, just shoot cortisone in there.
Yep.
Do you need painkillers? No, it's cortisone. Cortisone does that too.
You're right. When doctors are out of ideas, they go fill it with cortisone.
Yeah, just shoot a bunch of cortisone in there and then go out in the sun.
Well, the other thing people forget about is you think that the human body, it has hollow cavities. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of anatomy textbooks, but if anyone's ever gone to, there's a fantastic exhibit, I think it's called like Human Bodies or something, where...
Oh, Bodies, yeah.
Bodies, there you go. And it's actually really sad because I think a lot of them were like Chinese political prisoners that have had their skin peeled.
That was the knock on the thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty big knock. But regardless...
Well, I don't know if that was true. That was the accusation.
That's a good point. Regardless, it's a fascinating exhibit. And what you really take away is that the human body has basically no space inside of it at all. And it makes sense. I mean, if you went up in an airplane, you would expand like a bag of potato chips. If you had big air cavities inside your body, etc. your finger and your finger joint, for the same reason that the tiny gout crystals cause it to hurt, there is no space in there. So this guy injects a half of a large syringe into my knuckle, which makes it feel like it is exploding from the inside out. It's like if you put your finger in a door jamb and had someone slowly close the door on it, you know, on the leverage end of the door jamb.
So I used to, when I was a kid, like 13-ish, I used to get what's called a ganglion cyst, which is it's an inflammation in your wrist joint. At least that's where I got it. And so it turns into a cyst, like that. You can see it from outside your skin. You can see this big lump. And the
Sexy.
first 4 or 5 times we would go into the doctor and they would shoot it with cortisone, and true to form, cortisone would solve the issue, but it would come back. And then it started to spread down the back of my hand. I had like little satellite cysts all over my hand. And the last time they tried to shoot it up with cortisone, it just like dropped me to the floor, because there comes a point where cortisone stops working.
Yeah.
And the thing was so inflamed and pissed off about getting all these injections over the years.
Stop poking me.
It was just like, we're not doing this anymore. Like, that's not going to work.
It's the last resort.
Well, first and last. Have you tried cortisone? Yeah, I did. Well, we're out of ideas.
Yep. So I have a left trigger finger that is still swollen. And so I come home from the doctor's office in a great mood, because I have just been, my finger is throbbing. You know how when your heart beats and you feel it? Like every beat of the heart, I'm feeling it in my finger. So that feels great. And I'm trying to find my kids. So I get home and I'm walking around the house, and I see that my son, I have a 3-year-old son, and I see that my son's door is closed. And I'm like, that's weird. Why is his door closed? So I go to open his door and I hear my daughter yell, no, not yet. I'm not finished. And I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, honey, I'm coming in. So I open the door and she goes, Daddy, I'm changing his diaper. And there is just, it's everywhere. That's what I came home to.
No one should have kids. Any creature that can't figure out after 3 years where to boom boom, it does not belong on this earth. I'm sorry. Like, it takes 2 months to house train a cat. A dog might take like 3 months. If you're 3.5 years in and you are still going in your drawers, something is wrong.
Which brings me to another topic, semi-related. San Francisco seems to have its own poo problem. I don't know if you're aware.
No, trust me, I'm aware. I live there.
For people that aren't from San Francisco, recently there was some articles and some news about how conventions are now canceling coming to San Francisco. It's big money for the city, because there are so many homeless people downtown, and there is so much feces everywhere that people now feel unsafe. It's certainly unsanitary. And we've got new mayor London Breed gets elected, and and maybe you should speak to this more, Conor, wants to take this problem head on. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah. Yes.
I heard that she kind of does this is so funny, where she takes impromptu walks around San Francisco that are not planned so that people cannot clean up ahead of time, so that she gets to see the real problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally true. That a lot of times when mayors go out to look at things, they get the dog and pony show, and it can be hard for a leader to get out of that bubble. So I think it's been great that she just does these walks where she'll be meeting with a department head and be like, all right, well, let's go walk around the neighborhood and look at it.
Oh, I love that.
There's no time to do the dog and pony show.
Yeah, because it feels like the dog and pony show is very kind of Kim Jong-un. It's like North Korean dictator is going to go look at all the progress you've made in your pickle jarring plant. And you're like, oh, look at all these perfectly jarred pickles. Meanwhile, in the back is a complete mess.
Sure. Is North Korea a big pickle producer? I'm not sure where that came from.
The reason I bring this up is an article came out that they have hired, the city of San Francisco has hired a 5-man crew to, for lack of a better term, pick up poop. And they have earmarked a large amount of money. And I want to say that even in the Bay Area, which is very expensive, this kind of blew my mind. They were having trouble getting people to do it. And so they raised the salary and benefits, I should say, for the poop picker-uppers to $185,000 per person. That is effing ludicrous.
It's funny you bring this up because somebody else was blowing me up about this too. I don't think that number is right. The San Francisco Chronicle, as far as I know, was the first one that reported it. So the pay is $71,000 for this position, which is pretty high, but in San Francisco, that can,
for a job that requires absolutely no education, you literally are just, any dog owner does this for free.
It requires a strong stomach for sure, but the pay is $71,000, and they're claiming
which is already obscene.
Okay, they're claiming that with benefits and everything that it goes to 184. The city's multipliers are not that high. They're like 1.5. They're not 2.5. So when I worked for the city, and I'll say this on the air because you could look it up, I was making like 103, and I think all in the cost to the city was like 150. So that multiplier doesn't make any sense. It's not possible that they're getting paid 71 and the full boat cost is 184. I'm not buying that. I know it's been reported in the news, but people have asked me about it, and I'm like, I don't believe that that's accurate. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe it.
All I'm saying is I'm in the wrong profession. If I can go around with a trash can and a shovel from Lowe's and scoop some poop and make close to $200,000 a year.
If you want to apply, there are openings. Feel free to put yourself out there as a poop picker upper. I don't think it's going to be as easy as you're making it out to be.
If we were a harder hitting news show, then I would force you to go around with the poop pickers for a day and report back.
This is not unique to San Francisco. So San Diego had a hepatitis outbreak last year that was also caused by largely by homeless feces that was then infecting, I think, the water where they were living, and almost a couple dozen people died from hepatitis. So in San Diego, they actually go around now and spray down public infrastructure, sidewalks and newspaper racks with bleach.
I don't live in the city of San Francisco anymore, and thankfully the poo-splosion, if you will, happened after I moved out of downtown San Francisco. Shockingly, the real estate value where the poo-nado is
Is Ian Ziering in that one?
Yes, Tara Reid.
Poo-nado 5.
Skyrocketed. How much poop is there? Is it like one per block? Is it? I mean, how busy are these picker-uppers going to be for their $200,000?
I'm glad that we have turned a leaf here at Wildcard and that we are talking about respectable topics and news and such.
Do you have stuff you want to talk about?
No. How prevalent is it? There's actually a map which you could
poo map, like an app.
Yes.
Please tell me it uses like Google Maps, and then you can put the Poomoji on different.
I think that the Department of Public Works, or maybe the Department of Public Health, did a map of the places where they are getting reports of hypodermic needles and feces. And take a second right now. I'm pretty sure you can pull it up.
What? You know what they should have before I look that up? You know what they should have is, you know how they have the app Waze? Have you ever used Waze?
No, but I'm familiar with it.
My idea is we create a competitor to Waze called Waste.
Okay.
And you earn poo points for going around the city and marking explosive decompressions on the sidewalk.
So it would be like, what was that stupid trendy game a couple years ago?
Pokemon Go.
So it's like Pokemon Go.
It's Poopy Man Go. And
you go.
You can
patent that shit.
We need to bring this to the Hood Horkers guy. We may have finally come up with something better than cigarette shirt, if that's even possible. Anyway, okay, moving on. So one of the things that we talked about, Conor, is that you will be attending the Burning Man.
Yes.
Isn't that coming up here shortly?
I'm leaving in like 4 days, yeah.
You do not seem like the type that would burn.
I'm not.
Explain, why you go, and what, for anyone that has not, they call it burning, and if you go, you're a burner. That's so douchey. What happens at the Burning Man?
So we should do a whole episode, and we should bring on someone who's actually like belongs there. And I feel like I'm kind of an interloper, but it's a fascinating world. It is, I went for the first time a few years ago, and it was all of the good and bad that it had been made out to be. It's at night, it's one of the most beautiful spectacles I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. Just this oasis in the desert that's created at night. During the day, it's dusty and hot and a little different. But it's a fascinating experience.
So where is it? You go. It's like somewhere in the desert in Nevada.
So you go to Reno and then you drive 3 hours north just to smack dab in the middle of nowhere. And it is it's kind of like the Bonneville Salt Flats where they do the high speed testing.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's just this massive, flat, dusty plain in the desert. And so there's nothing. I mean, it's totally inhospitable for human life. So you have to bring in everything that you need during that period. And get by in the desert in the middle of sandstorms and heat, and then it gets super cold at night. It's crazy. It really is an experience. We should do a whole episode on it because there's so much there.
I feel like it's so trendy, and there are so many aspects about it that they just give me deuce chills. Things like the fact that they call each other burners, and someone will say like, "Do you burn?" And then I have a neighbor who I actually really like. He's one of my good friends. He's sending me texts of the outfit he's getting. And I'm like, wait, you have to get an outfit for Burning Man? And it's like freaking Coachella. Like these girls who wear like normal stuff the entire year spend like 6 months to how to look like a forest nymph. Like it's how they dress every day. And apparently for Burning Man, you must have, like, you've lived in the desert and you haven't had clothes, so you've had to make do with what you could find, a piece of cloth there, some old aviator goggles here. And it just seems so contrived and douchey. And so I'm like, can you show up and not wear this? He's like, no, you get ostracized. And it's like, here's the situation where it's supposed to be about freedom of expression and all this stuff. He's like, no, if you showed up in shorts and a t-shirt, people would like laugh you out of the place. And so I ask, do you have your Man Fairy outfit ready to go?
I enjoy that you reach all of these conclusions based on zero experience, but yes, I do. And
what does your outfit look like? And can we have you put it on and take a picture?
I mean, I go for as skimpy as possible, because you want to show off the guns. But when I went there for the first time, I'm pretty into costumes, like Halloween and Beta Breakers, which is a San Francisco event where people wear costumes. They're my two favorite holidays, and so I feel like I'm pretty decent at costumes. I got out there and I was like, wow, this is the big leagues. Like there is nothing you can do that's going to shock anyone. There's nothing that people haven't seen before. They really are playing for keeps in a lot of ways, but the costume front too. And then it's super cold at night. So you go out at night and you need to wear basically your ski gear with then some kind of steampunk Mad Max outfit on top of it.
But why? It's just, I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, he's sending me stuff. He's sending me, my neighbor's sending me texts of his outfits. He's at a thrift store and he's putting on blouses and short shorts. Now, granted, he's like 50. Yeah. And I'm like, no, nothing in the Nevada desert is exciting enough for me to put on a woman's leopard blouse. I just...
You got to expand your horizons.
I'm not fun.
You need to take some shrooms, slap on a tutu and some aviator goggles, and go out there and see what all the fuss is about.
Do you know how... That sounds like my idea of misery. Going out into the desert, putting on a leopard blouse, dropping acid, and wandering around a bunch of people who fell out of a steampunk video.
God, that sounds amazing.
No. He stopped me in his driveway. I was driving by on my way to the gym, and my neighbor stops me. He goes, I didn't even show you the best one. And he pulls out this chunky knit sweater that is clearly a woman's sweater. It is the kind of sweater that your grandmother might wear to church. And he goes, isn't this fantastic? And he puts it on, and the gaps in the threading, in the knitting, are so big that his man nipples are sticking out through the mesh. And I am just like, here is my neighbor who has just in his driveway put on what is clearly a lady's sweater. His man nipples are sticking out, and he goes, isn't it fantastic? And I had no words. I'm like, well, he goes, it's a woman's. Can you believe it's a woman's? And I was like, I can, because it looks like a woman's, and I can see your entire nipple, which is a look. I don't know. It seems like a lot of work to look like you don't care.
So let's do a little FBI profiling here because I think you fit the perfect profile of a burner. So let me just fire some let me fire some yes or no questions at you.
Okay.
You do or in the last several days have gone to bed before 9 p.m.
Yes.
You drive a van.
Yes.
You live in the suburbs.
Yes.
You ride a road bicycle.
Yes.
You wear spandex while riding the road bicycle.
I does.
A big night is 2 Tecate lights.
I might go full Tecate. If we're getting crazy, we'll go full Tecate Jones.
So you, sir, are a burner.
No, I am not a burner. That is the opposite of a burner. Okay, I'll tell you what a burner does. A burner wakes up, is unemployed, has to get their parents' credit card to spend the $500 it takes to get a ticket to go to Burning Man.
It's so much more than that. The ticket is $500. If you want to bring a vehicle in, that's another $70. But all of the expenses associated with the event, you're into it like $1,500. This is not a cheap thing.
So you have to. You're unemployed or you're working at your unpaid internship at HuffPo. And you ask daddy for his credit card so that you can spend $1,500 on a ticket and another $1,000 to make yourself look homeless. Then you drive out there with some low budget Molly, wait like 10 hours in line so that you can talk about how amazing that DJ from London is on the car bus who someone cut the roof off of as they drove by.
You are such a square. I feel like I would have an easier time explaining this experience to my 74-year-old mother. I actually think she would have more fun than you would.
Newsflash, nobody likes EDM. Even the people that listen to the EDM, nobody likes it. I get it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to all look like we're tripping balls, and then we're going to slow down and wait for the beat to drop. Wait for it, wait for it. Boom, the beat just dropped. Isn't this the best time ever? Nobody likes it.
You know what I really like are the silent discos with EDM where everyone's wearing headphones because I can't
Is that
dance
a thing?
at all.
What is that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I go to those things with the headphones and I'm just like, I'm not offbeat. I'm listening to a different song than you.
Back to the reason that I hate the burners.
Okay.
You've now spent thousands of dollars on a ticket, thousands of dollars to make yourself look like you're homeless. Then you're going to borrow your mom's SUV because you are technically driving off-road it's not off-road, it's the playa.
Which, by the way, that thing is never coming back in the way that it was. My brother took my truck to Burning Man several years ago, and I sold it. He got back, and I was like, "Nope, it's like you know how when you touch a baby bird or the eggs, like the mother will reject them. That's basically what happens to anything you own that goes to Burning Man.
Why?
Is a rejected baby bird because the playa dust is like freaking concrete. And it just sticks to everything. So your tent, your cooler, your lawn chair. What happened with my truck is my idiot brother was sitting in the cab during dust storms because the dust storms get really bad during the day. So
running the air
like
a moron.
Yeah. So the truck, like you shut the door and just this plume of dust would come off the door panel. If you made the mistake of turning the fan on in the truck, just plume of dust come out. And I mean, I sold it to a guy who was like, yeah, whatever. I go to Burning Man. I don't care. It was going to be like that anyway. I'm like, great, take it.
Oh, man. What you're saying is that when you bring mom's X5 back to Orange County after you've burned, it's not going to be the same.
There's a car wash. You used to go there. There's a car wash in San Francisco that charges people coming back from Burning Man. I think it's $200. And trust me, you can't fake it. You can't come in and be like, no, I was just on a dirt road. Like it is very obvious because that dust is so fine and so freaking stubborn. And what happens is the car wash doesn't even at $200, they don't want you going there because the stuff gets into all their pipes and their gear and it clogs it all up. It's terrible.
Well, I mean, even the $200 car wash after, I think what bothers me is the disingenuousness of the whole thing. Because
would that be disingenuity?
How disingenuous? Disingenuity?
Disingenuousness?
The word you're looking for is disingenuity.
Disingenuity?
So the disingenuity of the whole situation, because you've got these wealthy, the same girl that sunbathes in $1,000 bikini at the Standards pool in LA. And then now she's going to go out on the playa and act like, oh, material goods are of no value. I'm so one with nature. Bullshit. You shop at Whole Foods. You buy these vegan detox cleanses. You spend all this amazing amount of money, and now you're going to go to Burning Man and act like you're a starving artist, that all you want to do is be one with humanity, blah, blah, blah. It just feels very bullshitty. And maybe I just have this overly frat guy look about the whole thing, but I don't know. That's what it feels like to me.
There's been this controversy the last few years because they've started to develop these high-end camps where people will rent a bunch of like the serious bus type RVs, the John Madden RVs, and they'll hire a caterer to make them food. They'll basically close off their camp so that it's not really open to other people. And it's become controversial because it's pretty counter to the philosophy of the event.
That's not how we run the playa. The playa, it's the people's playa.
Why am I attempting to have a serious conversation right now?
Bro, it's the people's playa. Just because you happen to come in here with your consumer good capitalistic bus doesn't mean that it's, oh, you want to buy some X from me? Yeah, okay. So 2 pinks is going to be $175, and
there's no money. There's no money on the playa. Maybe for drugs, actually. I don't know.
I guess, yeah, yeah. You ain't buying drugs with sand.
Well, favors maybe.
Oh, good Lord. Now I know why you go to Burning Man. Oh, the other thing I want to talk about with Burning Man is I saw on the Facebooks, and hopefully this person doesn't listen to the show. It's one of my friends who is big into the playa, into the Burning Man. So her profile pic is a picture of her at Burning Man. Like, this is the whole year she winds up to it. She's a very nice girl, but she is super into the Burning Man. Now, let me ask you this. Do you feel that the People's Playa is a good place for children?
I would not take your 5-year-old there. No.
What does that mean?
Well, I don't have one, so I can't say I wouldn't take mine, but I wouldn't take yours.
She posted to ask if anyone had a trailer that she could hook up to her bike that her 5-year-old could sleep in during the night sessions at Burning Man. I don't know if that's grade A parenting.
I don't believe in children, as we've covered before.
Let's assume that you're a normal, well-adjusted human being without a cornucopia of dermatological skin issues, cysty issues, gouty issues. Let's pretend that those things don't exist.
That hypothetical is just a bridge too far. I can't fathom that hypothetical scenario.
There cannot be a bridge far enough between me and wherever you live.
It's under the airport. Is where I live.
I want to make you Bubble Boy. But no, answer my question, you herpetic human.
Yes. Sorry. What was the question?
Burning Man is known for doing drugs and having limited access to water and dust. That does not sound like a conducive environment to ride your child around in a trailer that they can sleep in while you do Molly all night.
I think the only thing that makes it a bad place for kids is the dust. Honestly, I would just be concerned about them getting dust in their eyes and lungs. I mean, other than that, it's a pretty positive environment. They're going to see a lot of really cool art and hear music, and it's not like it's going to do any psychological damage.
Aren't there people like offering free love to each other in mud puddles?
I mean,
this is what I imagine.
But it's behind closed tent doors. I mean, It's not like the kid's not going to walk around and be like, "Oh my God, I'm scarred."
Okay.
So I would think, like, as long as you have the kid wearing a mask and goggles, sure, why not? I mean, we are too freaking puritanical in this country. I can't remember if I said this last year or last episode, but I was up in Reno the other day at one of those casinos that's like faux Italian shtick, where it's like the Caesar Palagio, right?
Texas Tuscan.
Yeah, and they like paint columns onto their casino doors.
It's rich, super
and they
rich.
had super fancy, so culturally authentic. They had a faux Michelangelo's David, right? The naked boy guy.
I like that you throw that in there. Yes, I am cultured enough to know what Michelangelo's David is.
I just wanted to be sure.
The naked boy.
It's not the woman with no arms, just so we're clear. But they had put a frickin' fig leaf over his junk.
All right. Hey, look, I could be totally wrong. I seem to be pretty frat dicky about this whole Burning Man thing. It's not for me. I almost feel like it would be entertaining for me to have to go just because of how uncomfortable it would make me.
Yeah, no, I want you to go. In fact, next year I think you should go, and you can bring your van and your spandex and your road bike. I think there are parts of it I think you would enjoy. There are parts of it I think you would hate.
I want to look up the YouTube, and I want to get some of this firsthand from the Burning Men and women's. This guy looks promising.
Is he talking on his cell phone?
Dan just got back from the playa, and he's ready to stay off the grid forever. Why would you want to associate with these people?
It is frowned upon.
Hey, boss, it's me, Dan.
There's a video I couldn't down thumb anymore. It's an EDM compilation of Coachella and Burning Man.
It's the Pink Man group.
This video is called Faces of the Burn, The Virtues of Humanity. I see what they did there.
I remember that. So pause right there. So that giant statue of a woman, that thing was so cool.
Okay, so talk to me about these art installations, because this actually does sound like a kind of a cool part.
Oh, they're absolutely amazing. I mean, people spend, I think, large portions of the year in between Burning Man building art and building vehicles for the event. And they'll come in, they bring it in on flatbed trucks and set this stuff up the week ahead. That's actually going on right now. But that thing that you just showed on that video, that was like a maybe 80-foot tall statue of a woman that was so amazing, and it lit up at night. And I think if I remember correctly, it breathed, like its chest would move in and out.
That's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
The only way I would go to Burning Man is if I could build some just awesome Mad Maxy sort of thing. Like I could take a school bus and put like a jet engine in it, and then, build a platform for strange Mad Maxy people to dance on. And I would just do all the building. And then people could trip balls. Yeah,
so I mean, you can do that. So there was one camp that had a roller rink that they made, and they would loan out roller skates, and you could go there and just roller skate around. There's another camp.
And what do you exchange for the roller rink? Are you like, I will give you my Himalayan throat scarf in exchange for your roller skates for 20 minutes?
I mean, you could, but that's a pretty nice Himalayan throat scarf. I wouldn't give that away so easily. No, it's like camps set up with a given thing that they are going to provide to other burners. So the roller skate camp was like, we have a roller rink. There are camps where on certain hours of the day, they're giving out grilled cheese sandwiches. I remember that one because they were delicious. Or other camps will give out margaritas, whatever it may be. But there's another famous camp that I think they've been doing for years that is the Thunderdome from Mad Max. And they put two people in harnesses, and you hang from the Thunderdome, and I can't remember if you karate kick each other or if you have those jousting things from American Gladiator, but the rule is that you have to know each other because they don't want strangers getting in there and battling each other and then just starting fistfights, which I think has happened.
That's awesome.
So you and I, when you make your grand entrance next year, we can battle in the Thunderdome.
You're selling me on this. Now, if I went, I refuse. I am not wearing a chunky knit sweater through which you can see my pizza nipples. I am going to wear. Now, I'm not a cross-dressing homophobe or anything like that. No part of me wants to wear a blouse, and I'm not going to.
This coming from a guy who chooses to wear spandex on a regular basis.
I want to listen to some of the burners.
Okay.
This chick looks promising.
All right. What's your name?
Angela.
Angela, where you from? Huh?
Baby Blue Toy. Baby Blue Toy.
You got it.
Unicorn.
And where you?
Their names are Baby Blue Toy and Unicorn. This, Conor, this is why I hate Burning Man. I am not going there and getting a playa name. Do you have a playa name?
You're grumpy because you don't have your playa name yet.
Answer me. Do you have a playa name? Is your playa name Crusty or Itchy?
I only answer to Rashy.
What was your playa name? Out with it.
I don't have one. It has to be given to you based on something that makes you stand out. So I assume that mine will be related to skin disorders.
You think this chick with the gas station cowboy hat didn't give herself the name Unicorn?
She's like 2 hours out of Reno. I really need a hat for this ensemble.
Oh God, it's one of those hats that like every spring breaker gets. It's like it's like a cowboy hat that's been dipped in some sort of cheap glue. And
you got it at the Austin airport.
Yes, exactly. And you combine it with some Chevron sunglasses.
Where are you from?
San Francisco.
San Francisco, of course. My people.
How many burns have you been to?
This is my 6th burn, but not in a row.
Not in a row. Okay, so tell us, what does Burning Man personally mean to you? Why do you come here?
I come for the community. I come for the love.
This person's name is Little Blue Toy.
This is family. All my culture, all my friends are here. Hi, Nicole.
Nicole,
shit.
how many times you been to the burn?
Okay, so this person has green heart glasses on, a green bikini top, a camelback, and hair the color of a Slurpee.
Burn.
This is my first time.
Your first time, so tell us what do you like so far about it?
I think the most amazing thing for me so far is the art.
Connor, I'm sensing non-gender binary on this one.
I don't know. I think that is Thunderdome behind her.
Oh, I want to see. They better have inside Thunderdome stuff. These burners are not being nearly as cliche as I want them to be. They just seem like good people, and that's not what I wanted. I don't want good people. I don't want people that are.
Doesn't it suck when people disprove your stereotypes?
Yes, I don't want people that are like, yeah, I just came here to hang out with friends, and it's really good time, and I'm here with my family, and we just really enjoy all the artwork.
I think our show has become old man screams by the fireplace, and younger guy tries not to get offended.
I'm going to give this one last shot, and there better be some cliche burners in this video.
There better be some stereotypes.
Well, let's see.
Oh, these people are definitely on ecstasy. So there are two burners that are sitting on the ground, dancing rhythmically, and what looks like a middle management at a tech company in the city guy.
He looks like James Caan's kid, from the Ocean 11's movies.
Yes, he's just very doughy, shirtless, and wearing a bandana around his neck, and he has now gotten down on the ground to rhythmically undulate with these other people on ecstasy. Our camera's frowned upon at Burning Man because for YouTube being a wealth of information, I am very underwhelmed by the amount of footage at Burning Man of the cliche burners.
Yeah, no, cameras are frowned upon. Technology kind of in general, like phones, computers, yeah.
How am I supposed to upload my super cute burn outfit from the playa to my Insta, Connor, if you can't use the technology?
I got such a good picture making duck face out in the deep playa, and I can't get any Wi-Fi to upload it to Instagram. Hey, I have a bone to pick here with the internet, because that last video, the guy used the expression winner, winner, chicken dinner. And I would just like to point out to everyone listening that there are a handful of things no person should say. Okay? Winner, winner, chicken dinner is one of them. Cool beans is another one.
Yep.
Get her done, unless you are the multimillionaire comedian who made up that stupid shtick. Don't say it.
This brings me to a good topic, Connor, which is there are a couple things I want to start doing on the show. There are two segments. One is I think that every week we need to add something to our list of grievances.
I have so many grievances.
At some point during the year, we will have a grievance off. We will pit grievances against each other. For example, your grievance just now, people that say winner, winner, chicken dinner. So you would pit that grievance in the Thunderdome against guy who tells you how much he likes IPA.
Ooh, I don't like that guy either.
And you have to decide which one makes it out of the Thunderdome. See,
so it's like the final four of grievances.
Yes, you could add like watching an old person eat scrambled eggs at IHOP. Super gross.
That's arousing.
Versus, good Lord. Good Lord. Thank God we're edited. You can pit that versus something like the bartender that gives you a margarita with a lime that is too thin to squeeze. You know what I'm talking about? When the lime is cut so effing thin that you go to squeeze it and it just collapses in on itself.
It's more like essence of lime. Yeah.
Yes, like they cut like a centimeter. Anyway, so this is my idea. So we need to start. Let's take your grievance, which is people that say winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And we will put that on a list. My grievance is burners.
It's just people who go to Burning Man in general. That is your grievance.
My grievance is people that enjoy their life and aren't bridled with the self-hatred and pain and shame that I walk around the world with.
That's unfair. That's too big of a grievance because that's going to win.
I would like to add...
There is no expression you could say that is dumb enough to unseat people who enjoy their life. I can't beat that.
You have added winner, winner, chicken dinner and people who say cool beans.
I'm filing a grievance for your grievance being too good.
I would like to add airplane clappers. When the plane, like...
Oh, okay. If you're adding airplane clappers, people who honk in the tunnel.
Yes! Yes! There is not a big enough ding for this. I hate you. Everyone hates you. You have a horn. We know it. You are so annoying. It sounds like the same fucking horn outside the tunnel as it does in. Everyone hates you. It's
so
like...
You had one of the best suggestions I've ever heard. A few years ago, you were like, people who honk in the tunnel should get 4 points on their license. No traffic school. It's just 4 points.
No comedy traffic school. You just go straight to 4 points. You are the equivalent of someone who has gotten a DUI thrice.
Yes. Yeah. Like if you honk in the tunnel, you get a bus pass. That's what you get because you ain't driving anymore.
I'm willing to go full Islam and just chop your horn honking hand off. I continue. I've got a few more to add before we move on because I save these things up because
I think there are some people you haven't offended yet.
I'm a bitter, angry old man.
I can tell.
I have two things that involve alcohol that bother the daylights out of me.
Okay.
One is anyone who thinks it's still funny to say it's 5 o'clock somewhere when they have a drink anytime before 5 o'clock. No one wants to hear it. We've all heard it 1,000 times. Second is Cheers Nazis. These are the people that have some obnoxious cheers ritual that they learned on Instagram. And they insist on telling the world their stupid cheersing thing while you're cheersing. So you're at a dinner table or a bar or something. Everyone's like, oh, we had a great day. Let's cheers. And you put your drink up and some fun vacuum is like, you didn't stare anyone in the eyes. You know, you're supposed to look someone in the eyes when you cheers. Or you're supposed to put the lip of your glass below the lip of the other glass. And it's just like all these stupid rules that they say they don't exist. This is your stupid rule. And stop ruining my moment because I'm not going to look you in the eyes. I'm going to look wherever the hell I want because you're not the boss of me.
So I'm gonna take a step back on that one and say that anyone who cheers at all or suggests the cheers is a grievance for me. I don't want to interrupt my beer drinking to have to push my glass around the table and make personal connection with you people. The whole reason I'm drinking the beer is so that I can tolerate having personal interactions with you people. If I haven't drunk it yet, I don't want to look at you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to hit my glass with you.
Amen, brother. Amen. We really are turning it.
Ding. I need the ding. I have been accustomed to getting the affirmation of the ding.
We really, really are turning into just people who are grumpy and rant about stuff.
Yeah, we rant a lot.
Somehow it fills the dark hole in my heart, though, when I rant.
Well, the thing is, people are doing a lot of things wrong.
Yes.
And we need to point it out.
As I get older, the world needs to conform to me.
Yes. I am not going to change.
Speaking of change, this brings me, beautiful segue, John.
Let's do it.
To my second thing that I would like to add to the show, which is what the woke folk are doing. Which is, god damn it, what the fuck? Which is what the woke folk are doing.
This has to be a joke. I do not believe this is happening. I literally am going to die. I need an ambulance.
Every week, I want to bring you an article of something that the woke folk are ruining. This week, it is vaginas. Apparently, the term vagina is not gender inclusive because certain people born or who identify with the non-binary gender spectrum, I don't understand anything I just said, Don't, because they want to be identify as female, but only certain members of the population are actually born with vaginas. It's not a gender inclusive term. Drum roll. Because what do you think the gender inclusive term for vagina is, Connor? It's very poetic. It's eloquent, if you will. I feel like someone spent a lot of time trying to come up with a term that fit the needs of everyone.
Pita bread?
Front hole.
No.
Yes.
No.
Henceforth, medical websites will refer to the vagina.
I don't believe you.
As the front hole.
They did not come up with front hole.
There's a major website. I will Google it now.
Where does the urethra fit into all this? Isn't that a front hole?
That's part of your front hole.
Outrage over a safe sex guide calling it front hole.
Safe sex guide uses term front hole as alternative for vagina to not offend transgenders. This is getting so out of control. First of all, we can't redefine actual medical terminology to make people feel better. If you were born, it's a left arm. Certain people are not born with left arms. It is not rude to call it a left arm. You're not going to start calling it occasional appendage that the majority of the population are born with, but other people can have even if it's fake. Like, look, I don't care what you want to be, but a vagina is an actual thing.
There. I'll take your word for that. I haven't seen one in some time, but there is an effort afoot, which is legitimate, to bifurcate genitalia from gender. That was some good alliteration. I was almost like I planned that. Because just because you have a penis or whatever they're calling it now, a front pipe, doesn't necessarily mean that you identify as a guy, as a male. So I get that. I understand that, and that I think is a valuable thing. But front hole?
First of all, whoever came up with the term front hole, that is an awful, awful term.
I mean, unless if your intent was to make us all giggle like third graders, then kudos to you, because I am.
Yeah, it just seems like
I feel like we should come up with names for the rest of body parts using this same approach. Like, what are boobs now? Are they like
they're milk bags? No, because no. God, I'm not giving agency to the people that have breasts that cannot produce milk.
Yeah.
God, I'm so not woke. Okay, We need to come up with a term. Front mounds.
Front bumps?
Is mounds problematic? We have to think about this.
It might be. It might be now that you mention it. Well, let's go back to one that probably I will be better at.
Okay.
What do you call the whang?
Well, based on this, as you said earlier, I think you have to call it front pipe.
Front pipe, right?
Yeah. So anyway, remember, no longer is a baby born of their mother's vagina. It is born simply out of their front hole.
No, I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with trying to change language to be more accommodating.
But this isn't a problematic thing. This is insane.
No, it is. It is.
Why? You're either born with a vagina or you're not. And look, if you are trans and you do whatever wizardry they do down there to make it go in, I'll call that a vagina. I'm fine with that. Roll with it.
You're missing my point. Remember, I said that there is an effort to bifurcate genitalia from gender because they are two different things. You can be born with a front pipe, but identify as female. I get that. My gripe is that the term front hole is fucking stupid. Like, I understand the effort.
Your gripe is with the execution, not the concept.
The execution is atrocious.
It's really bad. Okay, so good thing is, Conor, you, luckily, don't need to deal with any front holes. So now we have a choice, because I feel like moving on from LGBTQ issues. There was a while back where Conor and I went out to Gay Pride here in San Francisco. We've actually got, I didn't know it was a thing, Silicon Valley Pride coming up here shortly. And we thought it would be fun to get some folks on tape, play some games. And what I decided is I think that one of the games that we did there, I want to play with a guest when they come in, so I'm going to save the majority of that tape. But what I did notice while I was cutting some of this together is two things. One, I am a vocal chameleon. And what I mean is, when I was a kid, my parents sent me to Okanagan hockey camp when I was 12. And when I came back, I would talk all about how much fun I had, eh? Like I would just take on the attributes of wherever I am, and I hate it, and I have to fight it. And if I ever go to like the UK or something, I find myself calling it a mobile instead of a cell phone. And I hate that I am basically the male version of Madonna minus the talent and the lean body mass.
And the money and the cool outfits.
And what I noticed is that as we got to the later tapes, I took on a gay affect in our interviews.
Microaggression. I don't know what you mean by gay affect.
Okay, I am microaggressing. Shit.
I want to see you dig yourself out of this one.
God, I'm so deep in a front hole right now. I need to dig myself out.
You're really acting like a back hole right now.
Okay, Connor, allow me to play what I sound like.
I have no idea.
Probably like a home in Florida.
I think I saw 3 of him already today.
It's subtle, but did you catch that I kind of get a little bit higher pitched and a little bit flip?
No, I definitely did notice I have no idea.
I have no idea. It's kind of like a mix between my impression of one of our friends and kind of a stereotypical gay affect.
I think really the lesson here is that you try incredibly hard to fit in.
But I fail so miserably.
Yeah, that's why I don't try.
People don't like me.
No.
I think that the more interesting thing I pulled from this, however, is that you have no game.
No game?
No game. And it's super uncomfortable. Your game is terrible.
What? My game is amazing.
No. If it weren't for your starvy abs that you get just from pure self-flagellation for a long period of time, you would have nothing. Your game is so bad. So we came upon these 2 guys. That does not sound right. We walked up.
That's accurate. That is what happened.
We walked up to these guys. I have their names here. Let's hear their names.
All right, guys, tell us your names.
Evan, Joe.
We came on Evan and Joe, and I learned after the interview that Conor was partial to Evan and Joe. They were in your wheelhouse.
More Evan than Joe.
Well, let me ask this question, because I've wondered this for a while. Why is it so specific that gay guys have types? Because as a straight guy, my type is girl that's funny and good looking. That's my type. Throw in smart and self-confidence as bonuses. I'm not like, oh, no, I can't go out with that Victoria's Secret model. She's a blonde, and I am clearly a dark-haired only kind of guy. It seems odd that the gay community segments who they like so narrowly. It's like, I don't like big hairy guys. I've learned that that's a bear. I don't like bears. I like twinks, which are kind of like the smaller, skinnier guys. Doesn't that seem odd to you? Do you? I mean, you obviously probably have a preference for one, but does that mean you never find the others attractive?
Correct.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't want to be presumptuous, but I believe you said you are into the twink style guy. Is that a problematic statement?
Not for me.
Okay.
That is accurate.
And describe what in generalities a twink is.
Younger looking, hairless as much as possible, thin. But, I prefer the more athletic thin as opposed to just emaciated thin.
Let's use people that people know in Hollywood. So a George Clooney type, are you not attracted to him because he is not young and hairless?
Correct.
That is so odd.
Well, wait a minute. Every one of your ex-girlfriends and your wife have all had a pretty similar aesthetic.
That's not true at all.
Oh, it's pretty true.
Some were tall, some were short, some were dark-haired, some were light-haired.
How many of them were extremely hairy?
If a woman's got... typically women don't.
My point is, I don't like them hairy, neither do you. I think we're in the same boat.
Yeah, but, I mean, if a twink had a beard, you wouldn't be into it.
Correct.
Here's what I look at it. I look at it this way. Men are on the same page. So is it that you have so much opportunity? It's like a bear in a salmon rush that you're like, I have the luxury of narrowing it down to my very specific likes.
No, because maybe 8% of guys are actually gay. So you narrow the population enormously there. Here's the thing. I am not gay. I am a narcissist. And so I am attracted to the younger, better looking, hipper version that in my mind I actually am.
I think that might be the most emotionally disturbing comment I have ever heard.
Was that too honest?
Yes.
Did I cross a line?
You are a dark, dark human being in there. I'm nervous. I'm glad you're not in the same studio. That is some heavy shit. You are attracted to a younger, better version of yourself. Freud would have a field day with that.
Well, the truth is, my ex, who was my first boyfriend,
did look disturbingly like you.
Looks a lot like me, but 5 years younger.
I am really glad that I would not be attracted to the train wreck of a woman that looks like me. That poor soul with my Cro-Magnon forehead and jaw. Back to you having terrible game, and let's not skip over the fact that you basically said you're trying to fall in love with yourself.
I didn't say anything about love. Don't put words in my mouth.
Oh man. So
I hate myself.
So listen to your game here, because what I've noticed is because you told me after that you thought these guys were attractive, or at least they were in your wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
When you like a guy, you do kind of the same thing that I probably used to do, which is you laugh really hard at their stupid jokes when they're not that funny. And
that would suggest that I like you, though. So yeah. I don't know if I buy your theory.
Wah, wah.
Sometimes I'm just trying to be nice.
And your jokes, which are occasionally funny, completely go off the fucking rails.
Oh boy,
your jokes are awful. I wish I had more tape of this. I'll try to distill more tape down.
I'm John, and this is Conor.
You
guys don't want to be presumptive.
Just tap into your stereotypes. You can probably figure it out.
Tap into your stereotypes.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're just kind of giggly there.
So this one might be too hard. I have no fucking...
You got to show them this.
There's the other key is the unnecessary use of the F word. You're not a sweary guy.
No.
But you just kind of dug in a random F word, and then it came out and it was a little bit awkward, and you pulled it back.
Did you edit this together to make me look bad?
Too hard. I have no fucking...
You got to show...
What? That doesn't even make sense. What was I swearing about?
That's my point.
Probably figure it out.
Tap into your stereotypes.
Yeah.
All right. So this one might be too hard. I have no fucking...
You got to show them the straight eye.
Unnecessary swear word.
That was a hard F, dude.
Yeah, really hard. Okay, continuing.
I'm showing them the straight...
Wow, those are both very straight answers.
Yeah.
They just say like a random comment, and you were just...
I'm just laughing hysterically.
Level 11 laugh.
John was calling it like underwater curtain gymnastics or something.
It's a great...
Yeah, that went nowhere. It's just kind of moment. John was calling it underwater curtain gymnastics or
I think
something.
all you're proving here is that your bit wasn't funny. It's not... I have done nothing wrong. Except for the hard F. I don't know where that came from. I think you edited that to make me look bad.
It's pretty funny. It was pretty clear. There's actually one piece of tape I really want to pull as well at some point, which is when we talked about, I think I may have talked about this on the show before, but when we talked about politics and you're helping with the mayoral.
Mayoral.
I'm not even going to try to say it.
Just helping with an election.
Yes, that. And I asked if you thought you were kind of a big deal or something, and you kind of tried to laugh it off, but the laugh was so egotistical. It was like, me, a big deal? Kind of like that. And it was pretty clear you did think you were a big deal, which makes the tape awesome.
I practiced that laugh.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I just sit around waiting for people to ask me if I think I'm a big deal. No.
So we have that pride game, and next time we have someone on, we have a number of questions. Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we are going to have Wildcard exclusive with the cousin of the
Bill
man who
Shubovitz.
puts out... Yeah, what is it? What's his name again?
Bill the Shubovitz.
With the cousin of Mr. Dobashitz and his podcast. We'll be back after these.
Wildcard is brought to you by
Coinbot. Access cryptocurrency pricing and market information right in your Slack or Telegram group. To add Coinbot for free to your group today, please visit coinbot.co. One more quick thing before we get back to the show. If you enjoy any Wildcard episodes, then go ahead and tell a friend. I know it may not seem like it, but this kind of drivel actually takes a lot of time and effort to cut together and to put out. So if you could share it with someone, help us grow. Also, please, 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 go to iTunes, take less than a minute to review the show. Just write up a few quick sentences, submit it. This is how people are going to find the show. Anyway, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, write a review. Can you say, hello, you're listening to Wildcard?
Hello, you're listening to Wild Card.
Quick editor's note. We actually had to do a 3-way phone call since we had 2 remote folks for this interview. Needless to say, the audio is not spectacular. I apologize in advance. Now here's the interview. I am tremendously excited with what's about to happen because our little show has a little reach, but it seems to have reached to the family members of one of the folks we talked about last episode. If you haven't listened to last episode, it's called Garbage. And we talk about someone who has a podcast. It is a very, very uncomfortable podcast about, it's called Porn-Free Radio. And we talk in detail about all of the steps that this individual, Matt Dobschutz, has to go through.
Dubishits.
Yes, I think you nailed it. All of the things that this man has to go through in order to keep his life porn-free. It's pretty fascinating, although I did get a little bit of pushback from folks saying that I was not, what's the right term here? I was not as understanding and kind to someone who has a real problem. They did, however, note that you were, that you were a good person. Yeah.
I'm a people person, John.
Yes, they did notice that you were kind, caring, and respectful of someone with an actual condition, and I was the 12-year-old boy laughing at him for his problems.
I think it's easier to be empathetic when you have many, many, many conditions.
Yes.
Mostly on the skin.
You must be unbelievably empathetic.
I am an empath, yes.
So we got reached out to on Facebook. I talked about that a little bit earlier in the show. Here's a quick clip of Porn-Free Radio from last week.
Welcome to Porn-Free Radio. I'm Matt Dobschutz. In this episode, we'll talk about porn-free travel. Staying porn-free while traveling doesn't happen by accident. It takes work. You know, hotels, other types of travel environments just are not the safest places if this is an issue for you, if this is something you're trying to avoid in your life. And so you have to plan.
So basically now we are going to call a man by the name of Joel. Joel is a relation to the man himself, the creator of Porn-Free Radio, Matt Dobschutz.
Hello.
Hey Joel, thanks for doing the show today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I guess my first question is, what happened when you were listening to the episode? At what point did you realize we were talking about your cousin?
Well, I was at work, and I'm a welder, so it's really loud in the shop. And I was listening on my headphones, and I heard you guys talking, where my brain kind of goes, "What?" So I kind of started listening, and I'm like, "That guy it kind of sounds like somebody that I know. It sounds like my cousin." And then you said his name completely wrong, by the way. It's Dobschutz.
We apologize. We haven't gotten it right once.
We've said it wrong like 6 different ways, so I felt like one of them had to be right.
Yeah, it's good luck trying to spell that when you're like 8 years old. But I heard you talking about him, and then you played his little clip, and I'm like, holy shit, that's my cousin Matt.
Now, did you know this podcast existed before you heard our show?
I knew about it a year or two ago, because I saw him at a family reunion last year, and I just asked him how it was going, and he said it was going really well, and I didn't really want to dive into much more detail. Freaked out by it.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask that question, which is, how did you have any inkling? I mean, look, first of all, let me say, I actually have a tremendous amount of respect for someone that has the ability to put something so private out there for the general public.
Yeah.
I mean, that takes a bravery that I don't think I have. So I actually genuinely feel a little bit bad now, kind of making fun of some of it. But that aside, did you have any idea that this was something that he struggled with before the podcast came out?
No, I just thought it was something that, every guy in the world. I didn't know you could have an addiction to it.
At what point does it become a problem? Is it like 3 times a day, 4?
Well, I know from stories that I've heard that it was affecting his marriage, it was affecting his job. Like he wasn't spending any time with his kids and, his wife, and all he was doing was just doing that all day long. And I guess it just got to the point where he was like, you know what, I'm going to quit doing this shit. And I don't know at what point he decided that he can try to help people with it. That I don't have a clue, but God bless him for doing it. And like you said, John, any guy that can do that about something so private, my hat is off to you.
Totally. So I would be almost more nervous kind of telling my family that than I would the random stranger. So talking into a mic is very, very anonymous. But if you're at a family reunion and you're like, oh yeah, I have a podcast and it's because I have a porn addiction, that's super awkward. Was he really just kind of open with that conversation, or how did that happen?
Pretty much, yeah. He was very open with it. And his family, they're the nicest fucking people on the planet. Like his dad is the coolest dude who doesn't have a bad thing to say about anybody. And I guess he told him and he was just like, okay, cool. In 2014 or somewhere around there, he had gotten fired from his job. And I guess this is around the time that he got, quote unquote, sober from it. And he just started doing it. He makes a damn good living off of it.
He makes money off the No Whacking podcast?
Yeah, they bought a house a year or two ago. He sells like packets for people. I don't know what it includes. I really, really don't want to know.
Well, yeah.
John,
go ahead, Conor.
John, we are doing something wrong. I am not buying a house from this show. I can tell you that much.
We are doing something very wrong.
He sells packets that it's just like any sobriety kind of thing. It's just like, here's what you can do. Here's guidelines. Here's what I did. I don't really know. I didn't really ask him that. It's just not something that I'm comfortable with doing.
Totally.
It's like pictures of unattractive people with lotion bottles filled with super glue.
Yeah, just like pictures of your grandmother naked in the tub kind of thing.
That would be so funny. The antidote is a packet that is just the most uncomfortable pictures, like severed body parts, your grandmother, all these things that will put you in the complete opposite frame of mind.
The clip that we listened to, he talks about how he has to be careful going to his mom's house because he might get triggered. So I'm curious, what's going on at your aunt's house?
She is a very interesting woman, to say the very least. I have no fucking clue what's going on there that he's like, oh my God. I gotta do this right now. I'm going to go to a bar now.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing that was mind-blowing for me, and kind of what I found interest in was just the level of impact that it could have on your life. Like the fact that you would be, and I almost genuinely feel bad for the guy, the fact that you can't go to a hotel and have the TV plugged in, or you have to have your car, your computer locked in your car, which Conor pointed out may not be the best idea for theft.
Probably not a good idea.
But I mean, that is a level of dysfunction that is debilitating. I mean, I feel bad.
I wouldn't even thought about that going into a hotel, because I've honestly never been in a hotel alone. For some reason, that triggers him. For some reason, I kind of get it.
Have you listened to any of the episodes?
Not a chance in hell.
There's some fantastic travel advice in there.
I'm sure there is. You go ahead and listen to it, and let us all know on the podcast next week.
Oh, that is so funny. So take me back. You're just listening to the podcast. You hear his name. Did you immediately want to turn it off, or?
No, I wanted to turn it up and sit down and listen intently.
Oh my gosh.
It's not the fact that you were. I mean, I wasn't upset you were making fun of him. I'm really not. You kind of were, but in the same way, you kind of aren't, because it's the kind of thing that you can poke fun of a little bit. But you guys both did say, "God bless you for, taking this seriously and trying to get sober." It's weird. Well, it was weird for me to listen to at the same time.
I think I said that. John didn't say it because he's a mean person.
Oh, thank you, Conor.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm just an evil heathen. I felt it in my heart, Conor.
You have no heart. I actually had to say it 3 times just to be sure that John didn't edit me out saying that.
Well, it seems like, Connor, you're not there. No offense, but you're not there sometimes, and John has more control over the buttons than you do.
That's he makes a solid point. I like this guy, Conor.
Yeah. So that actually leads to my last question. Are you actually this guy's cousin, or are you jerking our chain right now?
No, I'm not kidding you. How would I know how to spell his name? I can spell his name for you right now if you want to look for it.
That's a good chance, because no one has a chance at spelling Dobschutz well.
I actually believe you. I just wanted to use the pun jerking our chain because I'm a child.
Have you ever noticed him in the past doing things that in hindsight now you're like, oh, like is he ever unplugging TVs or placing objects in trunks?
Last time I saw him, there was little subtle things that I kind of noticed now that I heard you guys talking about it. Thank you for that very much. Won't be able to look at him the same way ever again.
Now, you said that it started to kind of impact his life and his job. Do you know anything more about that? So what happened? Was he staying home from work and so on?
He worked for a electronics company. They did speakers and headphones and whatnot. And for some reason, they let him go. I don't know the exact reason. And I think he was just looking for something else. And he was spending more and more time on the computer. And I think that's where it just became an issue. And then he just went from there, and fuck, man, they bought a house with that shit. I don't know how the hell they did that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, here you are, a guy that the meaning of a hard day's work. So here's my question. Would you, if you knew you could make more money, give yourself the affliction and start a podcast and publicly admit that you had an issue of this nature?
Yes.
Not a chance in hell. I love it. No, just not because of that, just because I absolutely love what I do for a living. And I am honestly not that open about that.
Yeah, I don't think I could be either. I don't know how you do that. I get it if no one knows, but once the show reaches a point where, you have to tell your parents about it, that gets really uncomfortable really fast.
He does a lot of his podcasts. He films a lot of them, which, okay. But he's also had multiple guests on, and he's interviewed them about this, which, all right.
The thing I don't get is, if you're going to do a show, why would you use your real name, your full name?
He's truly not ashamed of it, apparently. He travels across the country and does this shit, too.
Look, more power to him. I mean, that's awesome. But he does speaking conventions and so on. I mean, that's awkward. You're like checking yourself into the hotel, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm here. I'd like, I need an auditorium. I'm here to talk about my porn addiction. I'm the keynote speaker.
Well, he has to unplug every TV from the wall, leave his laptop on in the bathroom or in the car.
Yeah. Man, I don't have the energy to have that kind of an addiction. I just don't.
John, once again, as happened with hood horkers and as happened every time we try to feel better about ourselves, we have made fun of someone only to learn that they are better than us.
Everyone we talk about does better than us. Hood horkers, Jake Paul, Matt Dobschutz, they're all crushing it.
John, if you say Jake Paul again, I will fly to California and have a sit down with you.
We'll get Captain Phil to slap him around.
Dude.
Man.
Both those episodes were funny as hell, and you guys need to have him and Ben Horn on. And I was Navy too, so I would love to talk shit about Captain Phil.
But, yeah, how did you ever find out about the show originally?
I think I heard about it from Dan Cummins.
Ah, okay. So you listened to another podcast and he advertised it. Got it. You're going to be conflicted. You're like, do I share the fact that I'm on this podcast and admit that Thanksgiving is going to be a little more awkward next year, or do I take it to my grave?
No offense to you guys. I doubt any of them listen.
Oh, that hurt. That really
I don't
hurt.
mean that in a dick way. I'm sorry. That's more like a dick punch, but I don't think they listen.
Oh, come on. Doesn't everyone need to know the awkward things that are available on Amazon?
Or the shitty things that millennials are doing nowadays.
Oh, God.
Fucking millennials.
We've got a new segment called What the Woke Folk Are Doing, so we make fun of that.
By the way, what the fuck does that word mean?
Woke? Dude,
woke. What the fuck does that mean? I'm 30 years old, and you'd think I would know that, but I hate people.
See, I have this weird love-hate relationship with millennial stuff. Like, I hate them, but at the same time, it's so entertaining.
You admire them, it seems like.
It's
He's
awful.
Jealous.
So woke is like, it's a concept of your eyes are open and everyone else is still asleep. So you're awake to the problems of the world. The woke folk are the ones that say that you're a bad person if you don't automatically know the proper pronoun to use for someone before you meet them. Like, I don't know that you identify as a cisgender. I don't know to use them, they, hey. I don't know. But those are the folks that insist that you should be able to take societal clues to know that.
I don't know what you just said.
I might be too deep in this world.
I mean that in the nicest way, but I don't know what you just said.
Yeah. Well, I must say, Joel, thank you for being a fan of the show. That proves that we have at least two between my father and you.
My mom pretends to like the show, too. It's very nice of her.
I appreciate it, and thank you for being so open and honest. Conor, any other parting questions for the cousin of maybe the most famous guy in our universe right now?
No, just enjoy Thanksgiving, and thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Joel, remember, it's a jungle out there. Laptop in the car, cell phone in the bathroom, unplug the TV.
Always.
And if you need help,
safe.
Conor told me before the show he is willing to be your sober coach.
Well, I'm having a beer right now, so I don't think that's going to work.
Joel, I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show, and we'll have to have you back
Thanks
another
for having
time.
me, guys. All right, man.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Nice guy. I'm glad he agreed to come on the show.
I look forward to their Thanksgiving dinner.
We're bringing families together, Conor. If Thanksgiving at Aunt Ethel's wasn't awkward enough, now it's going to be like a level 11.
I just can't get over the fact that no matter what we do, no matter who we try to make fun of, we end up proving that we suck.
I'm going to look at it differently. The reach of our little show blows my mind sometimes, because you can say we're losers and we don't make as much money as Jake Paul, and we don't look
and we don't.
And we don't look as equine as Logan Paul. But we've had guys who were in firefights with Captain Phil reach out and say, I know Captain Phil, your guys' show is awesome. We now pick up some random podcast about porn addiction, and all of a sudden somebody's family member's like, hey, I know that guy. This is going to be really uncomfortable. And so I am impressed with our little show. On that note, I feel we have squoze all there is to squoze of this subject and many more things. And we've learned that if you have your parents' credit card and you can borrow mom's SUV and you want to go to Burning Man, go burn it up on the People's Playa, man. And then when you're done, make sure to unplug your TV, because you never know the dangers that live within. I want to say thank you to Joel for calling the show and making us feel like we actually have people that listen. And Conor, as always, you have been a joy and a contagion.
Thank you. I really resemble that remark.
Thanks, everybody. That's our show. We'll be back again next week.
Thanks for listening to Wildcard. See live podcasts and pics from the show on Instagram and Facebook, or visit us online at wildcardshow.com.